What happens when a music legend sits down for what should be a celebration of her incredible career, only for things to spiral into one of the most shocking blow-ups in daytime television history? In just 23 seconds, a simple question ignited a firestorm that would end with security being called and cameras frantically cutting to commercial. This is the story of how Chaka Khan's appearance on the Jennifer Hudson Show went from friendly conversation to total chaos. Before we get into this insane story, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We bring you daily videos exposing Hollywood's darkest scandals, the confrontations they don't want you to see, and the drama that happens when the cameras are still rolling. You don't want to miss what we've got coming next. Last night's episode was supposed to be different. Jennifer Hudson had been promoting this sit-down with the Queen of Funk for weeks, calling it a dream come true to have one of her musical heroes on the show. The audience was packed with fans wearing vintage concert tees, and the energy in the studio was electric. When Chaka Khan walked out in a stunning sequin jacket, the crowd went absolutely wild. She waved, blew kisses, and settled into the purple velvet chair across from Jennifer with a warm smile. The first few minutes went exactly as planned. Jennifer gushed about growing up listening to Chaka's music, about how I'm Every Woman was the soundtrack to her childhood. Chaka nodded graciously, sharing stories about recording the song, about the late nights in the studio, about how she never imagined it would become such an anthem. The audience laughed at her jokes, applauded at all the right moments, and everything seemed picture perfect. Jennifer leaned forward, her smile bright and genuine. "Now, I have to ask you about something that's been on everyone's mind," she said. "There's been so much talk lately about your music being sampled and covered by younger artists. How does it feel to see your legacy continuing with a new generation?" Shaka's smile flickered for just a second, but she recovered quickly. "Well, music is meant to be shared," she said carefully. "I've always believed that." "That's such a beautiful perspective," Jennifer said, nodding enthusiastically. "Because so many artists from your era have been vocal about feeling like their work gets taken without proper credit. But you've always seemed so gracious about it." Chaka shifted slightly in her seat, and if you were paying close attention, you could see her jaw tighten just a fraction. "Gracious," she repeated, her tone neutral. "That's one way to put it. I mean, you've had everyone from Whitney Houston to Beyoncé citing you as an influence," Jennifer continued, seemingly oblivious to the subtle change in Chaka's demeanor. "Your sound is everywhere in modern R&B. That must feel incredible, right? To know that your impact is still being felt decades later? It would feel more incredible if that impact came with proper acknowledgement," Chaka said, and there was the slightest edge to her voice now. "If it came with proper compensation, if it came with people actually knowing who created the sound they're copying." Jennifer's smile wavered slightly, but she pressed on. "Well, I think people do know. I mean, you're a legend. Everyone knows Chaka Khan." "Do they?" Chaka asked, leaning back in her chair. "Or do they know the samples? Do they know the covers? Do they know the watered-down versions that get played on the radio while the originals collect dust?" "Absolutely," Jennifer agreed, nodding enthusiastically. "And speaking of that, I actually wanted to surprise you with something special." She gestured to someone off stage, and suddenly the opening notes of I'm Every Woman began playing. But it wasn't Chaka's version. It was Jennifer's cover from years ago, the one she recorded for a movie soundtrack. The audience started clapping along, but Chaka's face went completely still. She sat there, frozen, as Jennifer began singing along to her own version of the song, clearly expecting Chaka to join in, or at least enjoy the moment. But Chaka didn't move. She didn't smile. She just stared straight ahead as her own words came back to her in someone else's voice. When the music finally stopped, Jennifer turned back to Chaka with an expectant grin. "Wasn't that fun? I've been dying to perform that for you. You've been dying to perform my song. For me, on your show," Chaka said slowly, her voice flat and cold. Jennifer's smile faltered slightly. "Well, I mean, it's such an incredible song. I thought it would be a nice tribute. A tribute? Chaka repeated, and now there was an edge creeping into her voice. You call that a tribute? Playing your version of my song instead of the original? The studio audience had gone quiet. You could feel the tension radiating from the stage like heat waves. Jennifer shifted in her seat, clearly not expecting this reaction. Chaka, I didn't mean any disrespect. I love that song. I love your music. You love my music so much that you covered it and made money off of it, Chaka said, her voice rising now. You love my music so much that you invited me here just so you could sing it at me like I'm supposed to be grateful. That's not what this is, Jennifer said. And now her own smile was completely gone. Her voice had taken on a defensive tone. I wanted to honor you. This was supposed to be a celebration. A celebration? Chaka leaned forward in her chair, her eyes blazing. Baby, let me tell you something about celebration. A celebration would be playing the original version. A celebration would be acknowledging who created this music in the first place. What you just did? That wasn't celebration. That was erasure. Jennifer's jaw dropped slightly. Erasure? Are you serious right now? I have always given you credit. Always. I've talked about you in every interview about that cover. Oh, you've talked about me, Chaka said, her voice dripping with sarcasm now. How generous of you. You talked about me while the royalty checks came to you, while your face was plastered on the album cover, while radio stations played your version on repeat and mine got pushed to the oldies stations. That's not my fault, Jennifer said, and her voice was rising now too. I didn't make radio stations choose my version over yours. I didn't control the market. But you benefited from it, didn't you? Chaka shot back. You benefited from a system that takes black women's art, packages it up with a younger, more marketable face, and sells it back to the masses like it's something brand new. The audience gasped audibly at this. Several people exchanged uncomfortable glances. Jennifer's face flushed, and she stood up straighter in her chair. That is completely unfair. I worked hard on that recording. I put my heart into it. I'm sure you did, Chaka said, but her tone suggested she wasn't sure at all. But working hard on something doesn't give you the right to overshadow the person who created it in the first place. You want to talk about heart? I wrote that song from my soul. I lived that song. And then I had to watch as person after person came along and made it their own little showcase piece. It's called a tribute, Jennifer insisted, her hands gesturing emphatically. When artists cover songs, it's a form of respect. It's how we honor the people who came before us. Then why didn't you ask me first? Chaka demanded, and the question hung in the air like a bomb. If it was really about respect, why didn't you call me up before you recorded it? Why didn't you say, hey, Chaka, I'd love to cover your signature song. Is that okay with you? Can we work together on this? Why did you just take it? Jennifer's mouth opened and closed. She looked genuinely stunned by the question. That's not how the industry works. You don't need permission to cover a song. That's not legally required. Legally required, Chaka repeated, laughing bitterly. So we're talking about what's legal now instead of what's right. Is that really the defense you want to go with? Talked about me while you collected the checks, Chaka shot back. While you got the radio play, while you got the streaming numbers. Do you know how many young people think you wrote that song? Do you have any idea how many times I've had to correct someone who thought your version was the original? The audience was completely silent now, hanging on every word. Some people looked uncomfortable, shifting in their seats. Others had their phones out, clearly recording what was unfolding. Jennifer glanced at her producers off stage, then back at Chaka. I can't control what people think, Jennifer said, her voice tight. I've always been clear about who wrote and originally performed that song. If people don't know their history, that's not on me. Not on you? Chaka's voice went up an octave. You just said it yourself. People don't know their history. And why don't they know? Because people like you keep covering our music, putting your face on it, and collecting the glory while we get pushed further and further into the background. People like me? Jennifer repeated, and now anger was creeping into her expression too. What exactly do you mean by that? I mean, young artists who take what we built and act like they discovered it, Chaka said, gesturing emphatically. I mean, people who stand on the shoulders of legends and then act surprised when those legends have something to say about it. Jennifer stood up from her chair suddenly, and the audience gasped. You know what? I invited you here with nothing but respect and admiration. I have been a fan of yours since I was a little girl. And instead of accepting a genuine gesture of appreciation, you're sitting here accusing me of stealing from you. I never said stealing, Chaka corrected, standing up to meet Jennifer's height. But since you brought it up, let's talk about what it means when young artists profit off the work of those who came before them without proper acknowledgement. Without proper acknowledgement. Jennifer's voice went up several notches. Are you kidding me right now? I just told you I mention your name every single time I talk about that song. What more do you want? A written apology? A percentage of my earnings? Tell me, Chaka, what would make you happy? Chaka's eyes narrowed dangerously. Don't you dare try to make me sound unreasonable. Don't you dare try to paint me as some bitter old woman who's jealous of your success. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Jennifer demanded, her voice echoing through the studio. Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you came on this show looking for a fight. Like you had this whole speech prepared about how terrible I am for daring to cover one of your songs. You think I wanted this? Chaka's voice was sharp as glass now. You think I came here planning to call you out on national television? I came here hoping for a real conversation. I came here hoping to connect with someone who I thought would understand what it's like to be a black woman in this industry. But instead, you ambushed me with your version of my song, expecting me to sit there and smile while you erased me right to my face. I did not erase you, Jennifer shouted, and several audience members jumped at the volume. You are standing right here. You are on my show. How is that erasure? Because you made it about you, Chaka shouted back, matching her intensity. Even this moment, even this interview that was supposed to celebrate my career, you turned it into a showcase for yourself. You couldn't just let me have my moment. You had to insert yourself into it. This is my show. Jennifer threw her hands up in frustration. My name is literally in the title? What did you expect? I expected you to have some damn humility, Chaka said, and her voice had gone quiet again, which somehow made it cut deeper. I expected you to understand that not everything is about you, that sometimes you need to step back and let the actual legend speak without making it a duet. I have given you acknowledgement. Jennifer's voice was loud now, echoing through the studio. Every time I sing that song, every time I talk about it, I mention your name. What more do you want from me? I want you to understand the difference between mentioning someone's name and actually honoring their legacy, Chaka fired back. I want you to understand that playing your version of my song to my face isn't the compliment you think it is. Then maybe you shouldn't have agreed to come on this show, Jennifer snapped. And immediately the audience erupted in gasps and whispers. Chaka took a step back, her face a mixture of shock and fury. Excuse me? Are you seriously telling me that I shouldn't have come on your show because I won't just sit here and smile while you disrespect me? I haven't disrespected you, Jennifer shot back, her voice breaking slightly. I brought you here because I admire you, because I wanted to celebrate you, and you're twisting everything into some kind of attack. You want to know what's twisted? Chaka's voice was shaking now, but not with fear, with pure, righteous anger. What's twisted is that you can't even see what you did wrong. You're so caught up in your own feelings, in defending yourself, that you can't even hear what I'm trying to tell you. Then tell me, Jennifer demanded, spreading her arms wide. Tell me, clearly, right now, what I did that was so terrible. Because all I did was sing a song that I love. A song that has meant something to me my entire life. That's exactly the problem, Chaka said, and her voice had gone dangerously quiet. You think this is about you and your feelings. You think your love for my song gives you the right to do whatever you want with it. But it doesn't. That song is mine. I created it. I lived it. I bled for it. And you can't just take that and make it about your journey, your feelings, your tribute. Jennifer's eyes were glistening now, tears threatening to spill over. I never meant to take anything from you. I only ever wanted to add to your legacy. You can't add to my legacy by overshadowing me, Chaka said firmly. You can't honor me by making yourself the star of my own story. And if you can't understand that, then we have nothing more to talk about. Chaka, please. Jennifer reached out her hand, a desperate gesture. But Chaka shook her head slowly, deliberately. No, I'm done. I came here in good faith, and you turned it into a performance. Well, congratulations. You got your moment. You got your viral clip. But you don't get to have me sitting here, nodding along while you do it. That's not fair, Jennifer said. But her voice had lost some of its edge. She seemed to realize she'd gone too far. You want to talk about fair? Chaka laughed. But there was no humor in it. Let's talk about fair. Let's talk about how many of us built this industry, created these sounds, pioneered these styles, only to watch younger artists come in and get all the credit, all the money, all the recognition, and then when we dare to speak up about it, we're called bitter or difficult or ungrateful. I have never called you any of those things, Jennifer protested, her voice defensive. Not yet, Chaka said sharply, but give it time. Give it until after this airs and your PR team starts doing damage control. Give it until the headlines start calling me jealous of your success. That's how this works, isn't it? The legend speaks up, and suddenly she's just a bitter old woman who can't handle that someone else is in the spotlight now. That's not what anyone would think, Jennifer said, but she didn't sound convinced. People respect you. Everyone respects you. Respect, Chaka repeated, shaking her head slowly. You keep using that word, but I don't think you know what it means. Respect isn't just saying nice things about someone in interviews. Respect is listening when they tell you something bothers them. Respect is acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, you didn't handle something the right way. I'm trying to acknowledge that, Jennifer said, her voice strained. But you're not giving me a chance. You're just attacking me. Attacking you? Chaka's eyebrows shot up. Baby, if I was attacking you, you'd know it. What I'm doing is trying to educate you. I'm trying to help you understand something that you clearly don't get. But you're so busy defending yourself, so busy feeling attacked, that you can't even hear the lesson. Jennifer's producer appeared at the edge of the stage, trying to signal for them to cut to commercial, but neither woman was paying attention. They were locked in now, facing off like two fighters in a ring, and nothing was going to break this moment until it reached its natural conclusion. Not yet, Chaka said, but give it time. Give it until after this airs and your PR team starts doing damage control. Give it until the headlines start calling me jealous of your success. That's how this works, isn't it? The legend speaks up, and suddenly she's just a bitter old woman who can't handle that someone else is in the spotlight now. Jennifer's producer appeared at the edge of the stage, trying to signal for them to cut to commercial, but neither woman was paying attention. They were locked in now, facing off like two fighters in a ring. I have worked my entire career with integrity, Jennifer said, her voice shaking slightly. I have tried to honor the artists who came before me, and I don't deserve to be attacked like this on my own show. Your show, Chaka repeated, nodding slowly. Right, your show, where you control the narrative, where you decide what gets said and what gets edited out. Well, let me tell you something, baby. You can edit this however you want, but I know what happened here. You thought you could use me as a prop for your cute little tribute performance, and when I didn't play along like a good little legend, you got mad. That is not what happened, Jennifer said, but her voice lacked conviction now. I wanted to share a moment with you. I wanted to show you how much your music means to me. Then you should have asked me how I wanted to be honored, Chaka said, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. You should have said, Chaka, I'd love to do something special for you on my show, What would make you feel celebrated? But you didn't do that. You decided what would be best. You decided how this would go. And when it didn't work out the way you planned, you got defensive. Because you're being unfair. Jennifer's voice cracked with emotion. I did my best. I tried to do something nice. And you're acting like I committed some terrible crime. You know what the crime is? Chaka leaned in, her eyes intense. The crime is thinking that good intentions erase impact. The crime is thinking that because you meant well, I have no right to feel hurt or disrespected. That's the crime, Jennifer. And it's one that gets committed against legends like me every single day in this industry. Jennifer wiped at her eyes, smudging her makeup slightly. I never wanted to hurt you. You have to believe that. I do believe it, Chaka said, and for a moment her voice softened just slightly. But you did hurt me anyway. And instead of apologizing, instead of saying I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Let me do better. You're standing here telling me all the reasons why I shouldn't feel the way I feel. I don't know what you want me to say, Jennifer whispered, and she looked genuinely lost. I want you to say you understand, Chaka said simply. I want you to say that you get why. What you did was hurtful. I want you to say that next time you'll do things differently. But I don't think you can say any of those things, can you? Because you still don't see it. Then what did happen? Chaka challenged. Explain it to me. Explain to everyone watching. Why did you play your version of my song instead of mine? Why was this whole segment designed to showcase you singing instead of me talking about my own creation? Jennifer opened her mouth, then closed it again. She looked at her producers, at the audience, at anywhere but directly at Chaka. I thought you would appreciate it, she finally said, her voice small. You thought wrong, Chaka said flatly. And you know what the worst part is? I came here wanting to connect with you. I came here excited to talk to another singer, another black woman in this industry, who I thought would understand what it's like to fight for respect and recognition. Instead, I got this mess. I do understand, Jennifer said, desperately. Chaka, please, I do understand. Maybe I didn't handle this right, but my intentions were good. Good intentions don't mean much when the impact is harmful, Chaka said, and her voice had gone quiet again, which somehow made it more powerful. You want to honor me? Play my version of my song. You want to celebrate me? Let me tell my own story, without turning it into a showcase for yours. The two women stood there for a long moment, the silence stretching out between them like a canyon. The audience didn't make a sound. Even the crew seemed frozen in place, unsure whether to intervene or let this play out. I'm sorry you feel that way, Jennifer said finally, and it was possibly the worst thing she could have said. Chaka's eyes flashed with anger. You're sorry I feel that way? Not sorry for what you did, but sorry that I had the audacity to have feelings about it? Do you hear yourself right now? That's not what I meant, Jennifer started. But Chaka cut her off with a sharp gesture. No, I think that's exactly what you meant, Chaka said. You're sorry that I'm not grateful. You're sorry that I'm not playing along. You're sorry that your perfect little tribute moment got ruined by the actual legend having an opinion about it. Well, I'm sorry too, Jennifer. I'm sorry I wasted my time coming here. I'm sorry I thought you were different from all the other young artists who see us as stepping stones instead of human beings. And I'm really damn sorry that I have to be the one to teach you this lesson on national television. Finally, Chaka reached up and unclipped her microphone. The sharp sound of the wire being pulled free crackled through the speakers. I think we're done here, she said, dropping the mic pack onto the chair behind her. Chaka, wait, Jennifer started to say, reaching out a hand. But Chaka was already turning away, already walking toward the stage exit. Her sequined jacket caught the studio lights as she moved, making her look like a comet blazing across the stage. The audience sat in stunned silence, watching as one of music's biggest legends simply walked away from one of daytime television's biggest stars. Chaka, please, Jennifer called after her, but Chaka didn't turn around, didn't slow down, didn't give any indication that she'd heard. A producer rushed forward, trying to intercept Chaka before she could leave, but she brushed past him without a word. Another staff member appeared with her purse and coat, clearly retrieved from the green room, and Chaka took them without breaking stride. Jennifer stood alone on stage, her face a mixture of shock, hurt, and confusion. She looked at the audience, at the cameras, seeming to suddenly remember that all of this was being recorded, that thousands, maybe millions of people would eventually see this moment. She started to say, but whatever words she'd planned to speak died on her lips as Chaka Khan disappeared through the stage door, the sound of her heels clicking against the floor fading into silence. The studio erupted into chaos. Audience members gasped and whispered to each other. Producers rushed forward with headsets, unsure whether to stop her or let her go. Camera operators kept filming, capturing every second of the drama unfolding before them. Jennifer stood alone on stage, her face frozen in shock and disbelief. Her hands trembled slightly as she watched one of music's biggest legends walk away from her show, leaving nothing but tension and unanswered questions hanging in the air. "Chaka, please," Jennifer called out one last time, her voice cracking with emotion. But Chaka Khan didn't turn around. She didn't slow down. She simply kept walking, her sequin jacket catching the lights one final time before she disappeared through the stage door, the sharp click of her heels fading into silence as the door closed behind her with a definitive thud.